Okay, I'm so happy to have you here, Brittany. Like, I can't. I'm seeing you for the first time engaged, and like, we need to talk about it. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I mean, it's crazy. First of all, I can't believe this moment is actually happening. You would always say, like, I feel it for you. It's coming. Like, you're just like on a, whatever you call it. Like, you're like however you described it. You're an engine or whatever. And I was like, uh-huh, okay, sure. And now it's here, and well, first of all, I'm like completely so happy and so at peace. It just feels like it's so weird because there's so many emotions. Like, it feels so natural. It almost feels just like, but of course, like it feels like we've always been together. And at the same time, it also feels like such an overwhelming identity shift
Yeah.
because I had all this like deep-seated beliefs that like it was never going to happen for me. So part
Mm.
of my brain is like having to catch up with this complete identity shift. It's a
I
lot.
Yes. Okay. You know what, you guys, and normally I'm like, hi, I'm coming now with Brittany. And as soon as you join the Zoom call, I'm like, you guys, I'm recording from the jump. Like, I'm like, I need to, it's just, I love seeing you. I love seeing you so radiant and so happy. And I want to like bring everything back because this podcast episode, I just feel like it's going to be so inspiring for so many women. I love you so much, and I really believe that God works in such beautiful ways. I feel really blessed to have been on your journey, and to see you on this journey and find love has been amazing. And I know so many women are going to relate to where you were when I first met you and to where you are now. So like, let's back it up. I feel like you came into my world, and actually you came into our world like a year or something ago.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and but you didn't sign on yet. So like, talk to me about that, like with that,
Yeah.
because that happens a lot too to women. Tell us where you were.
All right. So I hear from, I follow Leven on Instagram and I see her success story and I'm like, okay. And I feel like every time I share with people, like, oh, I got a dating coach, like they have the same reaction that I did, which is kind of this like, huh? Like, what is that? It kind of brings to mind like that. I don't know if you know that Will Smith movie from a long time ago where he's like,
Hitch,
and
Hitch.
it's like how to like charm a woman or whatever. And it's like, so that's what you kind of envision as dating coaches, like tricks and moves. And like, you're like, what even is that? Um, and so I kind of had that reaction at first, like, and it's a little bit like, oh, you need a dating coach, but it's
Yeah.
just once I got on the phone with you and realized more what it was about, like I was in law school, I'm already in law school debt, and I was like, God, I can't spend this kind of money. And I remember you said to me, look at how much you're investing in your career. Like you don't want to invest that in your, potential like future family and lifelong spouse, but you're going to invest this in your career. And that really stuck with me. And even though I like wasn't ready to sign on then, I think because I was still so caught up in school and everything, it stuck with me the whole rest of the year. And so I go about the rest of my year. I'm focused on school. Um, I wind up, building this friendship with this guy, and it ends up, we're just friends, 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 whatever. And naturally, we become like emotionally attached. And I wind up in this situation where I'm like, I'm emotionally attached to a guy who is just not what I'm looking for in a husband. And this is a problem. And I break it off the friendship with him. And even though we were never a couple, it was heartbreaking and I realized, like, okay, I have fallen for an avoidant. And I'm like, okay, clearly I still have these old patterns that need to be fixed. I was just like heartbroken. I was 35 years old and single, and I was like, I'm repeating the same pattern still. And all along thinking, oh, I'm over it. Must be over it. I must be over it, just with the sheer passage of time. But that's not how it works. And so I just like made a decision. Well, number one, I made a decision. I was like, God, I'm putting you first, and I'm taking my faith really seriously because I can't do this without you.
Mm.
After that decision, I kind of got the messages like, well, all right, you want to do this, like think about, what Jackie told you is like, look at how you're investing. You don't become a lawyer just, deciding one day. You every single day you study, you work at it, you learn and you grow. And I was like, okay, that's my new approach to dating. It's not about every date I go on is going to be the potential man. Every date's going to be a learning experience and a growth process. And with that, I'm going to work with Jackie and figure out like how to do this because it's so much more than just like dating strategies. It's this like clearly I'm 35 and single for a reason, and there are things that are in my way that we need to clear. So we
Yes.
get
No.
to,
Well,
yeah,
like I just need to acknowledge that. Well, first off, because you have such an incredible growth mindset. Like I feel like this is one of my favorite, ultimate favorite things about you and what makes like a success story, honestly, like I felt it from you from the beginning, is that you are open to receive guidance. You're like, Jesus take the wheel kind of thing. I really do feel like God is always kind of guiding us and helping us. And some people don't say God, universe, whatever speaks to you, but to me, like faith is a huge part of my journey. And I had to pay attention. I feel like God is kind of putting lights on our path, angels on our path. Like I feel like I was on your path for a reason. And I love that you were during this journey, Britney, you're so willing to be called out with love. You knew like I had your best interest at heart, but I'm like, oh, we have no time to waste, Britney. I'm like, we have work to do. And you were so willing to be called on it. You're like, yes. You're like, oh shit, like that is a limiting belief. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't realize that, but thank you. You're like, note taken. And I feel like that was what contributed to your identity shift. I feel like at the end of the day, there has to be a shift internally where it's like
yes.
you're elevating into, like you're blossoming and growing because what you're bringing into your beautiful world. Yes, you're such a beautiful person with this amazing life. And so many single women are like that. Like, oh my God, I don't need a man. And you don't. But what I wanted for you is to have space to receive a partner that can show up for you, that could be your rock, that can add value to your life. And that requires this level of vulnerability, this level of, oh my gosh, I'm very proud of my journey. There's no shame in where I'm at. Like there's all of these things that we had to really dive into. So I just applaud you, Britney. Like truly, like I love that you were like, yes, let's go and do this, but you actually showed up, and I'm so freaking proud of you. Like when you gave me the message that you're engaged, I'm like full body, like chills. I'm like, oh my God. I'm just so happy and so happy for you. You deserve it all.
Well, I told you were the first person. Like my mom had obviously told everyone, and all the key people like had already been informed. And you were the first person I personally reached out to. I was like, I have to tell Jackie because you are my champion. And I mean, I think all the things you teach us are just so like it was God being like, okay, yes, have faith, have hope. Those are like two key tenets of my faith. But more specifically, what exactly do I need to change in my mind that is preventing me from having faith and hope? And without you, I don't think I would have ever been, exposed to what's actually going on in my mind and how I was getting in my own way. And then other things too that you would call me out for, like you have trouble speaking up for your needs, communicating. You judge right away without, having a curious mindset about, let me try to understand more. If you did not call me out for those things, I would not be in this position. But we can go into
Yeah,
more specifics.
I
You
am
lead
no.
the way. Yeah. You
Because
lead
there's
the
so
way.
many things to talk about, but I
Yeah.
love that because I do feel like a lot of times the way that we all can navigate things are jumping to conclusions. I do think that a lot of us, and I have done this in the past, and I see this with a lot of women, that you're disappointed and disappointed and disappointed. Like you've already, and so it's hard to believe that it even exists. And then when you put yourself out there and you're dating and you're talking to somebody, you're kind of already jumping to the conclusion that they're not it. So I just feel like there is this level of vulnerability because to just pause and reflect, because I am about being a dating ninja. I am about saying bye-bye to the person that's not aligned to you. But that being said, it's also really important to actually connect. like with people, and see who they are and show who you really are. And that requires so much of like, oh shit, like, wait, I have to show them all of me. Like, that's
And
another
we had
thing.
those conversations where we would discuss like how much do I share because I have a whole past and I'm sober now. So we had those discussions and you helped me to be like you want to find someone who when you say I'm sober, I've gone through things, they're going to be like I am fully on board. I'm not afraid of that. And like you pulled out of me like here are the things that you need to own about yourself and not be afraid to be vulnerable. Yada yada.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that was huge. And I appreciate you sharing that because as we're talking, like I literally had no pre talk with Brittany. I was like, we're recording. So I didn't, and I'm glad that you're bringing that up because I do feel like everyone has, and I know in my personal journey too, like I have things that have happened, we all have things that have happened that we may carry judgment, shame, or whatever. And we're scared to like show that part of ourselves. And we're like, oh my gosh, we don't want to. And something that I found with my husband, Will, it's like, oh my gosh, when I showed him all parts of me and how it was, I get emotional thinking about it, like
Yeah.
how blessed
Yeah.
like we are. Honestly, I can feel like you have that. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's like these men, there are such amazing men that exist. And we just need to
Yeah.
give them an opportunity to show up for us, and they
Yes.
will. Like they're emotionally intelligent, they're emotionally mature, they care, they prioritize us. I'm like, ladies, this exists.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
out there.
absolutely. Absolutely. And oh, I forgot what I was just going to say to that, but
You're like,
it's
yes to all of it.
just 100%. It's out there. And you just I really do think the big thing was the work that we did on the believing that it would happen and how much that helped me get to that point when I did not have it. It was like just drilling into me. You just number one thing is you have to believe that it's out there. That was like step one.
Yeah, no, and I honestly I think that people like you saying that is so important for people to hear that because I think that we are wired, like based off of like what we see, and when we're young, we believe in happily ever afters. And then shit goes down and we're like, yeah, no, like that's not going to happen. And so people see Will and I and they're like, oh, you're so lucky. I'm like, no, wait a second, back it up. There's things that I actually had to do. I designed a method. I found, and it sounds crazy. I feel like a lot of people can judge all the things. And I think that how I found Will, like Will always existed. I feel like God had him on my path. God had your person on your path. But it's really important for us to do that work, inner work, to actually have a different approach, but also believe it exists. Like have that unwavering faith. And like it wavers so much for so many people because of the things that you've lived through. And so, like,
Yes.
Brittany, like, this was it's crazy. I was looking at our messages. You signed up on June 7th for my coaching program, How to Find Crazy Love Fast, and you were engaged February 7th. I'm like, magic times. I love it. I was like, yes.
I love that.
Isn't it amazing? I'm like, yes, this is
And
it.
I would read these stories and you're like, so and so met their person 3 months later, 4 months later. I'm like, that's just a coincidence. Like there's just like no way. But it's very divine. Like there is some huge shift that happens and it might seem like, oh, well, yeah, okay, 3 weeks later, 5 dates later, like sure, what are the odds of that? Like, and I still believed that. I was like, I'm not going to be one of those statistics. I'll probably be like another couple years or something like that. But there's just something very divine that happens when you make that shift, that you open yourself up. I would always tell people the story you told about how when you met your husband, you were asked to dance with somebody else that you were like had a thing with, and if you hadn't said no, you wouldn't have met him. It's just those tiny little shifts where you shift your focus onto like, no, these are my standards, and I'm not going to waver from this. And just like then you're working with God where you're like, I trust you, I have faith, I'm going to follow, even though, the reason we don't we don't want to have faith is because we're trying to protect ourselves. And for me and a lot of people, it was like I'm protecting myself from disappointment by just trying to accept the reality that it's not going to happen. But it's just a self-defense mechanism. And you have to take a risk to have faith and to open your heart to the possibility, because you open your heart to the possibility of letdown. But that's just the only way you're going to get it. And odds are you will get it when you take that risk. And then just I remember what I was going to say earlier about like, you know, you have those standards, you have that list. But on the other side of that too is like acknowledging that nobody's perfect. And so another defense mechanism is where you're always trying to like find something wrong with someone and, to protect yourself, because you're like, what if it doesn't work out? Or what if I get hurt? That was a big part of my progression with Matt, was like me wrestling with this, like, it's like, I want this so badly, and he's got everything on my list. But then my fears would come up, well, what about this? Or what about that? And what about this? And if it wasn't for you being like, go to the list, go to the list. And people call it crazy, it's a method, but for other people, it's kind of just like a natural, intuitive thing. So it's not, it's like, it's just the way you build a healthy relationship. It's like, here are the things I value, and here are the things I'm going to demand in a relationship. But perfection can't be one of them. Nobody's perfect, and it's all delusional anyway. So you also have to have that, reminder of what's really important and sticking to that. You get past those fears, and next thing you know, you wind up in a situation where you have this kind of love that you were talking about, like, is possible out there. I, Jackie, I've never imagined. Actually, it was just my wildest fantasy, actually, was to be loved like this. It was my wildest fantasy.
Oh
And
my.
I could cry right now, but I never imagined that I would meet a man who could love this devotedly, this beautifully, this I I I can't even put words to it. How special it is to experience this, and it's such a blessing. I That's all I can say.
Yeah, I love this so much. And I feel it, like you're radiating, honestly. Like it's just this beautiful light coming from you. And I'm so happy for you. And I know it. Like this is why when you came into my world, like I feel this in my life, and I hold that vision. Like I held that vision for you. And I knew it was all going to come to you. And I love this for you. And I love that you're willing to talk about your story and to tell other women too, because I feel like they need evidence of it. Like their head, their brain needs to feel it. And just like to back it up a second, because I think that a lot of people are going with the flow. And so much about my part of the method that I created was, slowing it down and getting really clear and intentional. And like not just, a lot of times we're going with the flow, we're subconsciously drawn to the wrong stuff, like the things that were familiar, things that didn't serve us. So, I do feel like my even the module in my program is called Trust in the List. I'm like, don't try, like don't go with your feelings sometimes, because you are regaining trust in yourself. And I do want you to trust your intuition, but sometimes it gets all muddied up because you're like going with the flow. You don't know what's happening. You start to lose trust in yourself. You don't even know what to believe. So I'm like, you know what? Let's trust in the list. Like, let's get clear on the list through my lens and yours. And so sometimes people are like writing things on their list that, so many people have done lists, right? I'm like, but what's in your list? I'm like, let's talk about that. And I feel like you are so open and willing to like, oh, let's do this together. And you were like, call me out, or like, oh my God, what am I missing? Tell me. And I feel like that mindset of yours, like you were just ready. You're like, this isn't priority for me. I would love to find love. Were you fully in believing it 100%? I had to keep reminding you, but you were receiving it. And like it is, you said it was something like mystical or mass, and it is like that. It feels like I always believe that to my core, Brittany. I'm like, God has it waiting for you, but there's something that you're doing that's blocking it from receiving. As soon as you just shift, it's there for you.
It really is. When you actually and when you actually do the work that's necessary to be able to receive it, then it all just shifts. But just going back to some of the points you talked about, because, well, first of all, evidence that it works is really powerful. And that was a saving grace for me, was to see all your success stories. And then I would constantly be reading about like older women who like in their late 30s who found love, to just keep reinforcing like it's possible. So advice number one would be like to just constantly, find other people's success stories and cling to that. If they can do it, you can do it. It's, 39, 42, 44, like people can find love at any age. And like the voice will keep coming back saying, it's too late for me, it's too late for me, it's too late for me. And it's just a constant shift of rejecting those thoughts and be like, no, look at the evidence. That's not actually true.
Yeah.
Number two, to your point about not trusting yourself, when you have this like long history of making terrible choices, you lose trust in yourself. And so when you do find someone who actually would be amazing, you can have these, like you said, it's like this weird nuance about like following your heart. Like on the one hand, you're following your intuition. There's like a deep intuition. But on the other hand, there's fears. And you need to be able to separate what's my heart, what's my intuition, what's God saying, no, this isn't for you, versus what's my old habits just presenting fears to me. That was a big thing for me. Because when a fear would come up, I would believe it at first and be like, well, maybe this means this isn't right. And then because of what you taught me, go to the list, trust in the list, I would be like, okay, let's work through this fear. Not only that, I didn't just work through the fear on my own, took your wonderful advice, and I communicated those fears and I would talk through those fears. And it was when I was able to, bring everything to my fiance, Matt, I grew deeper in love. We bonded so much more through facing those challenges together and through being vulnerable and being like, this is what I'm feeling. These are the fears. And then the way he would respond to that with, he was just kind, patient, open, willing, just there and safe. It would, those fears and challenges that came up throughout the process ended up being a tremendous blessing, because now we're going to enter our marriage having already gone through a lot of like challenges already, where I found like we can get through anything together if we could get through those early stages where you don't even have that bond yet and you don't really know that person that well, that like this person is so safe, like I can talk to him about anything, I can work through anything with him. So yeah, just to round it off, like trust in the list, and also be careful what's actually on the list,
Yes.
that it's actually what matters in a relationship. And when you have all these old patterns and ideas about what you think you want, you need to put that, run that against someone who, like you, who can be like, no, that's actually not going to be what's important in building the kind of relationship you really want that's sustainable
A
and beautiful.
hundred, 100%. I feel like that's a huge thing that I always want to communicate to people, is how communication is so key, which requires a huge level of vulnerability. And in today's dating culture, and even fucking back then, like I've been married to Will for 18 years. You guys, this is timeless. Like this whole struggle of me wondering if I'm good enough, if it exists, me settling for guys. That you mentioned the night that I met Will, like truly it was just one quick decision, but it was when I went into that night, it was embodying that energy of a woman who knows her worth. And I had unwavering faith that everything on my list exists. And so when this one guy asked me to dance, I'm like, I knew he wasn't aligned to it. I didn't hesitate. I didn't want to be the good girl anymore. I didn't need to be the good girl anymore. I didn't even care. I was like, my time is precious. God has something coming for me. And I wasn't even looking for Will. And I was going to ask you about that. Like, in terms of like the details, like for you, has it felt easy? Did it come easy? Did it feel like you had to? Because like I think you mentioned Matt. you met before? Like, I want to hear the details of your connection with him. But I'm sorry, just to wrap it up with this guy. So that night that I met Will, it is that quick decision making of already being in that space of knowing your worth, knowing what you want, knowing it exists. And then challenges are going to happen. People are going to come up to you that you might be very well attracted to, but when you see so clearly, you're like, oh no, that's not a line. Bye bye. And that's what I didn't say bye bye to him like that, but that's what I always say. And I did. And I walked across the dance floor. I looked across the way and I see a cute guy smiling. I'm like, oh, who's that? I smile back. Literally my husband. Like he came up and asked me to dance. And he said, if you were dancing with some other guy, I would never have asked you to dance. Like that's messed up. Like he's not a douche. Like he's a super respectful guy. And it's like that. Like those decisions are so crucial to just have that clarity. And it really does come fast. It's waiting for you. But like Britney, in terms of you and Matt, like I feel like the ladies want to know. Like let's just talk about it. Let's talk
Tea,
about it.
spill the tea.
Yes, spill the tea.